Alright, welcome back to another Reptile Jones video, and today we're going to be getting some of the snakes ready to go down the basement and to burmate for a short period of time. I brought the bins up. They were outside in the garage, so they need to warm up because it is now snowing, or had snowed outside, but we've got a lot of snow outside. So we gotta let those warm up before I can transfer snakes into them, which is fine because I got the 4 t-shirt winners. Shirts already packed up, labeled, everything, so I gotta go drop those off at the post office to get them out to you guys. And then I've got a few other errands I gotta run, so then when I come back, we'll pick up this video of me getting these ready, getting these snakes into those tubs, moving downstairs into the basement. So let's get to it and get this video rolling. Okay, so here are the tubs. They're clean. These are the tubs that you've seen me use before. I got the rack system. We're going to use these because I can lock the lid on. I don't have the lids for these tubs here. When I purchased this unit, the lids were long gone. So what we're simply going to do is take the lid off. I'm going to use newspaper as the substrate in these tubs. And the main reason for that is if I use wood shavings or any other material, there's the potential to for the humidity to be a little bit high inside these tubs, and I don't want that. I don't want it to be cold, and I want it to be colder. I don't want cold and humidity. Now there should be no shedding issues because these guys should not shed while they're down there in Burmation, and quite honestly, there really shouldn't be any kind of mess to this cage. But regardless, I put down the newspaper just in case. So if I do put a water dish in here, so if that spills, it just helps absorb that, and then we'll get it clean. So the first snake that's gonna go, or the first snake we're gonna look at, and she happens to be in her water dish, which is fine, is going to be the Texas rat snake. So since I picked up that male, I decided that I will try to burmate her, and we're going to let her get dry off before we take them downstairs. But so that is the first snake that's going to go down. And like I said, I did pick up that male, so I am kind of curious about maybe her breeding next year. So we're going to go ahead and burmate her. She is of pretty good size, so I don't fear that. So let's put her in there and kind of let her dry off a little bit, and let's move on to the next. We'll just set her tub aside and we'll come back to it. So more newspaper. And I don't like colored print because sometimes if it gets wet, it can actually kind of get on your snakes, and kind of, it's not a permanent stain. I just don't like the looks of it. So it'll be that. That's good. So up next, let's take his water dish, put it in there, is this male hypo-striped corn snake. So he's going to go down, and of course he's going to be paired up with the next snake I show you. Let's go ahead and push that. And then once we get these guys switched over, I'll come back and clean out these bins. So that way they're good and ready for them when they come back up in the end of the month. Oh, which the second reason, I didn't get to that. The second reason I'm only going to burmate for a month is, or at least in the basement portion of it anyways, is at the beginning of February, I've been asked to come to a school and do a reptile presentation, and I want to do it, and we can't simply show up with all the teeny tiny little babies. They just don't the presentation is good when you got little babies. So the kids really like the bigger stuff, so that's the other reason we're not going to have these guys down in the basement for the entire 2 months. So here's the other corn snake that's going. Of course, this is the hypo lavender striped female, and the goal is to prove out the previous male I showed you, whether or not he is carrying the lavender. Yes, lavender, because he is 50%, no, excuse me, he's 66% possible chance het for the lavender. So we'll find out, hopefully, by bringing him to her, we will find out if whether or not he is carrying that gene. So, you know, fingers crossed we will, and we'll produce a few more of these. And obviously, all the babies will be hypo-striped, because both parents are hypo-striped. It just that she has got one more gene and she has the lavender, and we're not too sure on whether or not he's carrying it. So she is the next to go down, and let's swap these around. So up next, oh well, let's get this open first before we go up next. So again, more newspaper. Yeah, look at all this color print. Sometimes if you just simply turn it inside out, you'll get more of a black and white page on the inside. So that'll work. We'll go ahead and set that up, and nope, next one, and you need a little bit. So next up is this. What are you freaking out for? Huh? Is this female here, and of course that is the Cinnalone milk snake. I always love the way this camera picks up her colors. It always does it so nicely. It's okay. Why are you spazzing? Huh? Yeah, I don't know. She's kind of being a little bit of a spaz. I don't know. I must have started her, but heck, she's way down on the line. She should have known that, you know, that I was in here messing. She will definitely have felt the vibrations through the rack as I was in the above bins. But regardless, she's calming down. But so that is her. And again, man, those colors on her. I really hope. It's okay. It's okay. I really hope that she produces some babies, because I would love to see a full clutch of these little red snakes hatching like that. That is something I really would like to see. And then of course, the final. Oh, I forgot to put newspaper in here. The final snake is the male Cinnalone. So he's gonna go down, and now the only snake that I'm not sure on is, this is kind of hard doing one-handed, is the male Texas rat snake, that snow male. I guess I probably should vermeil him. I don't know. I mean, technically I should, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. Maybe he will enter Burmation. I don't know. Again, it's cool in this room. I would much rather just continue feeding him, even if they're just small meals through this time, because he's not getting any supplement heat. It's just ambient air temperature in the room, because he is in the baby rack, which, you know, has no secondary heat. Everybody should be fine on that rack. There's really no problems. They will still continue to eat. It's just slower digestion, so you don't feed them large meals. But he could still be a viable male in the springtime. But we're gonna just kind of play around with it and see. Again, you know, I'm shortening the time in the basement, and I don't think I'll vermeil him. I think I'm just gonna kind of play around with it and see what happens. And in the past, I would vermeil him. He would have vermeiled the full 2 months. The whole breeding group would have vermeiled at least for 2 months. But then I was doing it for more so for the money, and now it's just a hobby. You know, I don't really care. I'm not doing it for money's sake. I'm just doing it for the enjoyment of, you know, keeping these excuse me, my throat got dry. I'm doing it for the sake of just, you know, keeping these animals, and you know, just the joy of that. So, you know, if this works and we get successful breeding and fertile eggs and hatch eggs, great. You guys will have seen the different way I did it, and you guys can adjust your breeding projects accordingly, whether or not this works or doesn't work. So again, I'm doing this simply for the sheer fun of it. I don't care about making money. I don't need to breed snakes to, you know, pay the bills. So it's simply for the sheer joy of the hobby. So that is, oh, we got to get her back out. But so we'll take her down, or we'll take them down, and we'll talk about some more downstairs. Okay, so here we are, we're in the basement. It's kind of, this room here is where a lot of like excess reptile stuff, like, you know, some old reptile magazines, and just some of my excess reptile related stuff ends up down here in this room. But this room will stay a consistent temperature despite how cold it gets outside, so that's one of the reasons I like to utilize this room. There are 2 windows, but you can see that window there is actually, you know, 90% blocked. There's just a little bit of light around the perimeter. And I got a window over there that faces the east, so they get a little bit of light coming in, and then as it passes over the house and sets in the west, we get a lot less even indirect light. So we got temperatures where we want them, and we have lighting where we want them. Those are both key factors in burr mating. Those are the two triggers that will put your snakes in this kind of burr mating. It's not like hibernation like with mammals. It's something different for reptiles. It's more of an inactive time, and it triggers, you know, the females will trigger them to develop eggs, and the males to develop the sperm. They need this trigger for that process to, you know, start moving. So that's why it's important to burr mate if you can, one way or another. You know, like I said, I believe we're going to be all right with the snow Texas rat male upstairs. I'm going to give it a try, and we'll see. Again, if I don't produce any babies, you know, it's at least a lesson learned. And again, I don't need to make babies to make money. I do it for the fun of it, so I can risk things for the sake of learning, as opposed to the sake of risking the loss of income, because I don't rely on these animals to make me money. So I think we're going to be good. I think there'll be some things to be learned, and obviously I'm sharing it with you guys so that way everybody can learn. You know, that's what this channel is about, is for all of us learn together. And so that's that. The last time you guys were down in this room, I was preparing the incubator for possible tortoise eggs, and sad to report that there's just, after that video, like, she was done. I never seen her dig anymore. I checked the cage thoroughly and never came across eggs. I'm assuming they're going to be a little bit smaller than like maybe a ping pong ball, maybe. I'm not 100% certain. That's probably a little bit big than what they actually lay, but I didn't find anything, so I don't know what that means, and I'm at a loss for understanding that. I am reaching out to those who have more tortoise experience, and to see if you know, just pick their brains and see what they think. But for now, there's been no turtle eggs, so I did unplug the incubator, and you know, I guess perhaps next year will be the year. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But let's go back upstairs and take a look at what's going on in the reptile room. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of unboxing. Of course, you'll see more of these in a later video as far as what I've got going on. So I've already opened this. This is from Miss King, and of course, this is going to be their little misting system, their little the L double misting assembly. I have an ideal for this I want to use, and kind of play around with this. So, but that'll be explained in a future video. But that came in today, and something else that is also for a future project that I kind of tease you with, and that is I picked up some these things here. If you ever used FlexWatt heat tape, that is what we got going on here. I didn't open this all the way, so we'll see. Oh yeah, there we go. So FlexWatt, this is the 2-inch strip, and this is going to be, and these are the clips to connect these two. This is going to be for a, wait a minute, is that? Huh. I haven't ordered this in a long time, and it's different than what it used to be. But anyway, so this is for a future project that you'll see popping up here on the channel shortly. I am building a second rack system. So you've seen me build the baby rack for baby clubrids, the baby corn snakes and such. And now I want to build another small rack for baby like boas and pythons. And also when the clubrids get a little bigger, they'll get bumped up into that rack system as well. So just kind of give you an idea of what's going on. But that rack will be heated because it will potentially have boas and or pythons in that rack. So I definitely need a heat source for those animals because, you know, upper 70s, low 80s will not work for those guys. I don't want to risk any kind of illness with them. Clubrids are a little bit more cold tolerant, and I've personally never had an issue in my reptile room not heating baby clubrids. So I think we'll be fine there, but I definitely don't want to risk any issues with boas and or pythons. Wink wink. So I'm definitely going to hook that rack up with secondary heating. Because just for them it's just a good idea. But all that will come in a future video. I just want to kind of throw this at the end of this video as a little teaser as to things that may be coming up. And so thanks you for watching and sticking around to the very end. And until next time, later.